Don't forget, you can reach the latest episode of Potomac Watch anytime. Just ask your smart speaker, play the Opinion Potomac Watch podcast.
From the opinion pages of the Wall Street Journal, this is Potomac Watch.
Welcome back. Donald Trump has been taunting Joe Biden to the debate stage for months, arguing that if he refuses to debate, voters should take the message that he is not up for it, and arguing that the debate should start long before voters get those early mail ballots in their mailboxes. Recently, President Trump said he was willing to do it anywhere, anytime, any place. And surprisingly, President Biden now this morning has accepted that challenge. Here's part of what he said in a video released by the White House.
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
That joke about Wednesdays was a reference to the fact that the Donald Trump New York hush money trial does not generally meet on Wednesdays. Kim, what do you make of this move by the White House? Does it suggest that President Biden is reading the polls and maybe not as confident of his position in them as he wants to project?
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's notable that kind of further statements coming out from his team were more specific about how they would like these debates to be structured. And it was clearly done in a way to, they think, well, advantage or help the president. And it tells us a little bit about what's on our mind. For instance, he wants to do at least one early in June. And by the way, we are getting some early reports that there might even be a date chosen already, agreed to by both sides. There's at least a Wall Street Journal story saying that CNN said its debate is going to take place on June 27th in its Atlanta studios. And the reason Joe Biden wants that debate early is that a lot of Democratic voters vote early. He's looking around at the polls right now, and I think he's very concerned about the lack of enthusiasm on his side, and the polls just suggesting that, especially in key swing states, Donald Trump is beating him by notable amounts. So I think he wants this opportunity to try to reset the narrative, catch some of those voters' attention. If they are going to go to the polls early, have them ready, primed, and thinking about this. He also made a demand that there not be an audience for these because he knows that Donald Trump loves the crowd and that it's very much Donald Trump's environment. It does look as though, according to this story, that there will not be an audience, at least in that June debate. And he also, interestingly, they asked for a provision whereby mics would be automatically cut off after a speaker's given time. And of course, this is a reference to that first debate that Joe Biden and Donald Trump did, where Donald Trump talked most of the debate and there was a lot of crosstalk. It was very difficult to watch what was going on. I think that's a much harder provision to ask for and get away with. And I don't see anything about that in this announcement. It sounds like there might also be a tentative date for a September debate, too.
Alicia, what's your thought here? I'm not sure that I expect Donald Trump to agree to one of those stipulations, that cutting off of the microphones, though honestly, if he agreed to it, it might work to his advantage, because my recollection is that he did not come out of that debate from 2020 that Kim mentioned looking good after all that time that he was interrupting. One other stipulation is that Joe Biden and Donald Trump both, I think, don't want RFK Jr. on the debate stage. So that's someplace where their incentives, I think, are aligned. But Alicia, from my perspective, good to see that Joe Biden seems really intent on debating, and soon. I think that June would be great, especially since the campaign is already really getting started and some of these states start to send out mail ballots actually pretty early.
Right. So I think he's hoping that a debate will bolster him in the polls. So there's a New York Times poll that came out yesterday that showed him trailing in 5 of the swing states. Now, the word is from Axios and some other newsletters that he doesn't actually believe the polls and that he believes that he is up and that he can't possibly be losing to Donald Trump. And he believes that a debate with Trump will redound to his benefit. But I think the flip side or the risk is that it'll be just like the press conference after the special counsel report in which he insisted on going out on stage and just made a bigger embarrassment of himself. So I think he will probably be very well prepped. But the problem with debates is you can't come out with a script. I think that this is a clash of personalities, with Trump trying to sound strong and appear vigorous while Biden tries to look like the adult in the room. And you'll probably find both kind of bloviating and making all kinds of claims that probably aren't true and won't stand up. But the debate could help the 20% swing voters make a decision. It will certainly cast the contrast between those in both their tempo, their personalities. But I think Trump obviously also thinks it redounds to his benefit because he thinks he will come off as stronger and that he can essentially, I wouldn't say bully, but he will overshadow Joe Biden. And if his mic gets cut off, as you said, that will actually mitigate the impression in some independents or undecided voters' minds that he is overly aggressive and too pushy or belligerent. So I think that could help him.
Kim, we'll give you the last word, but what do you suppose this portends for the Commission on Presidential Debates? That is this group of Washington grandees who has hosted and set up the presidential debates that we've had since 1988. And Republicans have argued that it has been too heavy-handed. The commission has set 3 debates for 2024, beginning only in the middle of September. And does this suggest that we are maybe entering a brave new world where presidential candidates are just going to have to agree on their own and agree with media outlets when and where and under what conditions they want to share the stage?
Yeah, it has to be a bit of a blow to the commission because Republicans have been very loud and vocal about their issues with the commission for a number of years now. And they've been frustrated by the moderators in debates, the timing of the debates, particularly this issue of how late they have come in the whole cycle, given the move across the country for earlier and earlier voting. But I think it's very disturbing. I think the commission have been holding out a hope that maybe Biden would turn to them. Now it looks as though both campaigns are saying, nope, enough. And so we'll have to see if it continues on. That big complaint, and it's been very notable to me, though, that this is really partly the commission's own making. It has been very inflexible and unwilling to change the way it does things. Its attitude has been, we set the rules, you must follow it. And I think the message back to the commission is actually, these are our campaigns and you need to work with us. And it just simply hasn't done that. One last little thing I would note, though, watch this space. I mean, there has been a lot of bravado today and these warring videos and taunts from both sides. And I think a quick acceptance on both sides because neither wanted to be seen to be issuing a challenge that they wouldn't actually follow through on. But there tend to be a lot of devil in these details. And I still think that there is a possibility that one or both of them pulls out before we actually get this debate.
Thank you, Kim and Alicia. Thank you all for listening. You can email us at pwpodcast@wsj.com. If you like the show, please hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back tomorrow with another edition of Potomac Watch.